Hi y'all, welcome back. Today we are going to can some raw pack potatoes. And what I have noticed is that I have not shown you the inside of a canner. And because we're going to raw pack potatoes, they're going to go in at room temperature and the canner is going to be at room temperature. So I figured this was the perfect time to show you. I haven't been able to show you previously because I've had the canner warming up on the stove, you know, because we normally go from hot to hot, but because this is going to be cool or room temperature to room temperature, I figured it's the perfect time. So this is the canner. That's the inside of the canner. And this always goes in there. So anytime I'm canning, I've got my canner, whichever canner I'm using, and I've got this piece. And this is so that the jars do not touch the bottom of the canner. So that's always down there. So I just wanted to go ahead and let you know that because I have not shown that before. So, and it's perfect timing. So I'm going to go ahead and move this canner out of the way, and we are going to go ahead and start peeling potatoes. That canner is just going to sit on the stove. There's going to be no heat going to it. I am going to, this canner calls for 3 quarts of water, so I am going to put 3 quarts of water in there and just leave it on the stove doing absolutely nothing till I put these jars in there, and then we will start the heat because we're going from room temperature to room temperature. And what we have in the bowl is 12 pounds of potatoes. So we're going to raw pack. We probably do not need that many potatoes, but if we have extra, I'm going to go ahead and fry some up. So we are going to start peeling potatoes. I'm not sure how long this is going to take, but I figured bring you along. Like I said, it's going to be raw pack. So what's good about raw pack is that you don't have to blanch them, you know. And I normally do blanch them. I believe I've said this in one of my other videos, but it's because it removes a lot of the starch, and so you don't have all that starch sitting in the jars. And it also softens them up, and you can fit more potatoes in the jar. These are not going to be softened, so I'm going to be able to get less potatoes in the jar. And when they're done processing, I will show you the difference between blanched or hot pack, which is the blanched ones, and this raw pack, which is the non-blanched. And you will see the difference for yourself. But there'll be starch. You'll see the starch in the jar. So that's normally why I do it that way. I get more potatoes and I don't get all that starch buildup in the jar. But you don't have to. You can do it this way. It's so much easier this way. So much easier. And you'll see that, especially if you watch the other videos of us blanching potatoes. And so I have my helper over there peeling potatoes. One of his favorite things to do is to peel potatoes. So anytime there's potatoes to be peeled, he's always volunteering. The next thing, his next favorite thing to do is to dig holes. So anytime I need a hole dug, he's there volunteering. I do appreciate his help. It's always great to have a helper. And with his help, it'll probably go a lot quicker. I'm not sure how loud this is in your ear. Can I move it over here? I don't know if that'll help any. What I have behind me, which is not in the frame, is a 5-gallon bucket of ice water to keep the potatoes from browning. If you don't have ice, you can actually just use cold water. I like using the ice just because it keeps it colder for longer. And if it takes me longer, I don't feel rushed, and I don't have to worry about my potatoes turning brown. So, but you know, this process is the same as far as peeling the potatoes and dicing the potatoes. It's the same as the hot pack. You know, same process. Put them in the cold water bath. And if you notice, anytime that we're canning, we have a towel down on our work surface, and that's because I'm messing with the water, I'm messing with hot things, and it's a cotton towel, and so it helps with the hot, and it also absorbs the liquids and the messes that we're making. As you see, I have water everywhere, and this just helps with it. So anytime that I'm canning or doing anything like that, I use the towel. So that's why lots of times there's the towel on the surface that I'm using. And the potatoes have been washed, obviously. And I think I pretty much in the videos told you everything about why we can potatoes, so I'm not sure that I have a lot left to say on that. So what else would you like to talk about? We're canning these, but we also have some dehydrated potatoes. And if you see the crock pot in the back, I've got some simple potato soup going in there, and that has a few hours left on it, and that there will be a video on that as well. But we like potatoes around here, so we use them, we eat them, we preserve them, and we really enjoy them. So I come, when I have to do something with them, I just decide, let me bring you along. You know, you may not be familiar, or maybe something new to you, or something that you're interested in, and so if I'm doing it, might as well just show you, right? Just bring you along. Might be something you want to do, might not. That's okay too. So the process is the same. Because I'm canning, I don't want blemishes like that. I'm preserving my food, so I don't want to put that in there. I don't want to put anything that's gonna jeopardize the safety of the food that I'm preserving. So this piece might be a little too big, but I'm gonna go ahead and go with it. And I flying potato, and I know I moved the dicer close to you again, but it's just easier for me right here. So I'm trying to knock this out of the way. And normally I have leftover potatoes. Oh, that's too full. Normally I have leftover potatoes, so we make something to eat with. I'm not sure if we're gonna get leftovers. We might have a little bit, but like I said earlier, I want there to be this time because I want to eat them for lunch. We haven't had lunch yet, and it's late afternoon, so I'm kind of hoping that we have some. Out of this batch, I mean, we have potatoes. Don't get me wrong, we have potatoes, but then this way it'll already be washed and diced and peeled and just ready to go, as opposed to us having to do that all over again. So are you enjoying peeling 12 pounds of potatoes with us? Might be a little much, right? And yes, you can peel a potato with a knife. It's probably how most people do it. I don't know. I use a potato peeler because I cut myself a lot. So if I don't have to use a knife, I won't. if I tried to peel this potato right here with a knife, guaranteed I would cut myself at least once. I burn myself all the time too. Why? I don't know. I'm not careless. It just happens that I cut myself and I burn myself. Normally my burning though is, you know, oil splatter. It's not anything I'm sure happens to lots of people. I did burn myself recently. I had 2 canners going and I went to set the timer. They were on the stove. I went to set the timer and I put my arm, I reached like this in between both of them, and my arm touched the side of one. Of course, I immediately jerked back, but that did not feel good. And it wasn't a bad burn, thankfully. It was not a bad burn. It just got red, obviously. It hurt. It hurt for a while. But it was, I got lucky. I got lucky. Because that could have ended bad. And I don't know what I was thinking to stick my arm in between 2 pressure canners. What was I thinking? I don't know. Was I rushing to do something maybe? I'm not sure. I just know that I won't be reaching in between 2 canners again. Shouldn't be reaching in between 2 anythings on the stove if they're on at all. But it happened, you know. If at this stage in my life I would know better, but I did. I do know better. I do know better. But I did it. And that just goes to show that even when you do things, you know things, you still make mistakes, you still do things that can be hurtful or harmful. So if you've not done it, don't do it. Don't stick your arm in between 2 pressure canners on the stove going at the same time. Because you could burn yourself. You might not. You might not, but you might. Let's see, what else can we talk about? Although I have not cut myself recently, so that's a good thing. It's probably about time though. You see, it looks like a piece of cheese. I don't know. I'm gonna cut around that piece a little bit more than that because I'm not liking the looks of it. At least not for canning. So I just cut, make sure. See, look at that. Yep, I'm gonna show you that. Look at this. Yep, so I don't want that. The rest of it, nope, there's more of it. So, you know, if I was cooking something, if we were going to eat this right now, I could probably cut around that. But because I'm canning it, I'm not going to put that in there. You know, we're canning for preservation for the long haul. You know, these potatoes, depending on how quick or how slow we eat them, may sit on my pantry for, you know, a few weeks. They may sit on there for a couple of years. So I definitely do not want to put any blemishes or anything like that into them, or anything that could spoil them. And this is the longest part, guys, of the video. It's just this peeling. The rest of it is so simple. Well, actually, the processing time is going to be the longest because we're going to, once we put this in the canner and get the canner going at the right pressure, we're going to have to pressure can these for 40 minutes. So that will probably be the longest part. I don't think peeling these potatoes is taking us 40 minutes. I don't know. I'm not keeping track of time, so I'm not really sure. And so this one had that blemish on it, but the potato itself looks good, so I'm just cutting that out. Some of these, look at this potato. Look at this. I don't know, guys, we might run out of these potatoes that we have right here. They might not fill up our 7 jars, and we might have to. get some more potatoes out. We've been processing potatoes all weekend. So there's been a lot of potato washing, a lot of potato peeling, a lot of potato dicing. Just, it's been a lot of processing of potatoes. So if you don't want to watch all this peeling and dicing, you can probably just forward up to whatever part we start jarring them up, preparing them for canning. But we just wanted to show you the whole process. You know, just, you know, so far the only thing we didn't show you was washing the potatoes. See my helper, I get to peel one potato to kind of help him out. But he keeps me supplied here in potatoes for my dicing. See, I'm done with that, and he's almost done with that one. But of course, you know, I try to help him as well. So start with another one. And yeah, I don't know how long this is taking, but that's the good thing about doing it on video is I'll actually get to see how long it takes us to peel all these potatoes. And guys, if there's something that you want to see canned, you know, put it down in the comments. If I've canned it before, or if I'm familiar with how to can it, or if it's something that we're going to eat and that we have available to can, I can do that. I'm not going to can something that we're not going to use, that's for sure. We're definitely not wasteful around here, so that would not work for us. But if it's something that we use, certainly we can do that. We can make that happen. It was thundering here a little bit ago, and it rained for a few minutes, and then just all stopped. Yep. Look, another bad potato. Yep, we're definitely not going to have, well, I can't say definitely because I don't know, but I'm thinking with these losses in potatoes, I'm thinking that we might not have enough to fill up the 7 jars. Only, yeah, I'm not going to use any one of that. Even though it's not blemished, it just looks funny to me. It doesn't look regular, so I'm not going to use that. I don't know. We might have enough for the jars. We may just not have enough to fry them up for lunch, but that's okay. We'll just do something else. Just thought this would be quicker, you know. The potato soup certainly won't be ready. In time for lunch. That's dinner. It'll be ready tonight. We are almost done with this. There's 2 more tiny little potatoes in there. Dump that back in. Guys, you'll see how easy this is. Granted, you'll need a pressure canner to do this. You cannot do this in a water bath. And see what I mean when I keep the towels? Just a mess of water. Yeah, you cannot do these in a water bath canner. You actually need, and look, looks good there, not so much, not so much. And I'm sorry if you think I'm wasting potatoes. You might not, you might agree with me, but I am not going to can potatoes that look like that. I'm just not going to do it. So, sorry, not really. Just not going to do it. So I think my helper is rushing over there because he wants to go dig a hole. I'm just kidding, guys. He's not going to dig a hole. We're canning and dehydrating and doing several other things. So there's no time for the hole digging. Not today. It's all right. I have all these potatoes in the cool water. I am going to go ahead and move this out of the way. So let me get that peeler. You're done with this, right? So guys, this is all the bad potatoes and the peels. So as you can see, it's quite a lot of it that we have. So I'm not sure how much we actually have of good potatoes to use. I am going to have to pause you real quick because I just noticed that I was going to bring the jars over here, but my lids, my flats, are actually in soap water right now. So the jars have already been washed, but I have to wash those lids. So I will be back with you shortly. Okay guys, so here's my lids. They're washed now. As you can see, I came back with a lot more stuff. I came with the water I'm going to use. Got my 7 jars here. Normally, if you've canned with me, you know that I normally just do 2 or 3 jars at a time, and that's because I want them to maintain their heat. I don't want them cooling off, but because this is raw pack and everything's just room temperature, I go ahead and set it up all at once. So I'm going to put the funnel in there. To each of these jars, I don't even need the funnel really to add the salt, but have it. To each of these jars, I'm going to add a teaspoon of salt. The salt is not needed for the safety purposes of your food. This is just for flavor. If you can potatoes and you don't put the salt in, they just turn out bland. But obviously, if you stay away from salt, then don't use the salt. If, you know, there's health medical reasons that you can't eat salt, then don't put the salt in there. You're gonna, you know, it's just gonna be bland, but it's probably something that you're used to. Now the salt that I put in this is not your regular table salt. This is canning salt. So now I have my 7 jars ready with the canning salt. I'm gonna go ahead and use this to get my potatoes out of the water. I could have drained them, but then I'm not sure how long this is going to take me, and I don't want them changing color, so I didn't. I'll just do this. And I want to just fill it to 1 inch of headspace. That right there is probably a little much. We'll come back to it. We'll adjust them as we go. Like I said, there's no rush for these because they're all just room temperature, so I don't have to try to hurry up and keep them hot or anything like that. I normally hot pack them, even though the blanching takes longer, so that they're not all starchy and I can fit more. But I had these, and we've been doing so much with potatoes, and I just, to tell you the truth, I just did not feel like blanching today. So I was like, I still want to do the potatoes. I still want to go ahead and get them processed, but I don't want to blanch, so let's raw pack. Maybe somebody out there doesn't know that they can be raw packed, or doesn't know how easy it actually is. So let's just raw pack and bring them along with us. And so here we are. Guys, if you have found anything in this video helpful to you, funny, you're learning anything, please make sure to subscribe and hit the like button. We're a brand new channel and just trying this out, and your support will be greatly appreciated, and your support is completely free to you. You know, you can also hit the notification bell, see when we post something new up. See, we missed this potato when we were putting them in there, so that's not going in, that's coming out. So yeah, we would definitely appreciate your support by subscribing, like, notifications. this is, if you know me, you know that I am not a talker. I mean, you, my new friends, might think I am a talker because I'm just chatter, chatter, chatter on here. But I am not, by nature, a talker. So this is definitely out of my comfort zone. But it's something that I want to accomplish, and so I'm giving it my best. Coming out of my comfort zone, talking to you, all my new friends. So I hope that you can appreciate that. So it looks, let me get to the bottom of this container and see where we're at. It looks like I may have enough for the 7 jars. Plus, I think I have a little extra in all those other ones, so I might be able to make it, but it is definitely close. Something I didn't think about was that I should just go ahead and be filling up those jars with the water as well and getting the lids on there, because those top potatoes might start to brown. Oh look, I do have enough. Ha! Potato on the ground. Alright, so I have a few potatoes left, not very much. Making sure this piece of potato is not right under me, because I don't want to make more of a mess than what I've already done. Alright, so we have my potatoes in here, and I can actually touch the jar because it is not hot. And I'm just going to hit it a couple of times. Move those potatoes out of the way. So yeah, that put us right at 1 inch. So I'm going to go ahead and add the water. Want to make sure that the water is also at 1 inch headspace. And I always fill it just a little bit over 1 inch, because when I debubble it, this is the debubbler, and so when I debubble it, the water level drops down a little bit. And so if I have a little extra in there, it normally evens itself out and I don't have to add any more. So let's see where we're at with this one. This is what I use to measure. So yep, we're at 1 inch. And then we have to, I'm playing musical jars here. So I'm gonna have to wipe the rim. So I've got vinegar. You want to wipe your jars, the rims, make sure there's nothing stuck on there. Something I didn't mention earlier is when you wash your jars that you're going to use for canning, make sure that you go around with your finger so that you can feel it. Make sure there's no nicks. If there's nicks, it will interfere with your seal. You won't get a good seal. So you can wipe this with water. If I was canning beef or anything like that, you want to just put that on finger tight. I would definitely use the vinegar. But in this case, you could actually use water because there's no grease and there's no sugars or anything like that. Like if you were making jelly or jam. With the potatoes, you can use water. But I like to go ahead and use the vinegar. That way I use vinegar for everything and I don't have to think about it. I just use the vinegar and it's ready to go. And so I did not pack these down a minute ago like I should have. So I'm going to go ahead and take a flat. I'm going to wipe my rim first. And then I'm going to take a flat and I'm just going to hit it a couple times. Make sure it's all the way down. So I wanted to make sure that I wipe that before I put this flat on there in case there's anything on there. It doesn't get on the flat. So it looks like we might be a tad bit over, and that's okay because I don't know what that is, a little piece of potato floating in there. brown little piece. Don't want that in there, right? Let me go ahead and rinse this off real quick. Okay. And let's see where we're at. I gotta debubble as well. I have to put so much brain effort into speaking to you guys and walking you through the steps that I forget sometimes. Like I said, it doesn't come natural to me. But I'm trying to get better. Trying to get better. And so I am over. And I knew I was going to be over on a few of these. I'm going to go ahead and just take out. I'm almost there. And I'm putting it into that jar. I don't know why, because I'm going to have to take it out of that jar because that jar looks pretty full. Okay, so I'm at 1 inch. And because I messed around with the jar, I'm still going to, I've got everything placed a little bit awkward here. I'm having to reach over so many things. I'm still going to go ahead and wipe my rim again. So just wipe it, make sure there's nothing on there. Put my flat on, my ring, finger tight, ready to go. Go with the next one. See, they started to brown a little already. Definitely don't want that. So it looks like that one's a little discolorated, so I'm going to go ahead and pull that out. So I'm at 1 inch there. And once you do this for a while, you kind of just know where your inch is. You learn to gauge it. And so debubble. Look at this one. It's coming out. See, we were going pretty quick, I think, and so we missed a few potatoes that didn't make the cut to get pressure can today. Yeah, you can see it needs more water. Just a little bit, but I still think I might have to remove a potato or two. And look, I went over. Guys, it happens. This is real life. You know, everything's not perfection. I don't try to sugarcoat it for you. It just is what it is, you know. Too much water, too much potatoes. This happens. It's okay. This is how we do things, right? Everything is not picture perfect. And that's okay. And there we're at 1 inch. So, can you tell me what the next step is? That's right. We're going to dip our towel in some vinegar and we're going to come and wipe the rim. And know that if you don't have vinegar and you're jarring something that does not have grease or sugars or anything sticky like that, you can just go ahead and use water. Nice hot water though. And then flat, ring, finger tight. That one's ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and look at that. Went down nicely. Filling up. A little bit above my 1 inch. And you may not want to do that little bit above like I do. You may want to just go to the 1 inch and then add more when you realize that your water level drops. That's okay too. I did it that way in the beginning. And I am, and it looks like I'm at maybe just a tad. And so come on, potato, come on. 1 inch. And then we're gonna go ahead and, we've already debubbled, so we don't have to do that again just because we take out a little piece of potato or two or add any more water in. Guys, also, if you want to do these potatoes in broth, you can, instead of the water, that finger tight, the water that I added, for more flavor, you can add broth in there, whatever kind of broth you want, and that way when you take it out to use it, it's already flavored with broth. I mean, you can take this out, and if you had broth in it and you want it to make soup, there you have it. It's basically done. You know, I do can some potato in broth, but I like to can my broth, so a lot of times I just do it like this, and this just gives me so many more options on how I can use it. But if you wanted to do broth, that's perfectly okay. If you wanted to add, you know, you didn't have the broth to add to it, but you want the flavoring, and then, you know, it'll make its broth. If you just add a bouillon in there, a bouillon cube in there, and add it in there, and then with the water, then basically you have broth. So that's always an option for you. All right. Finger tight. On to the next one. It's just an assembly line, isn't it? Just an assembly line. But if you've watched the other on the hot pack, you see how easy this is and how less time consuming it is, because you don't have to get the water up to a boil and then put your potatoes in there and then let them come to a boil and let them blanch for 2 minutes. You don't have to do any of that. I think that might be a little too much in there. I'm close, but I'm not gonna keep messing with it, and I'm definitely not gonna put these potatoes in that other jar because I'll just have to redo the whole thing all over again. So we debubbled. I am at 1 inch. And I'm trying to hurry up a little because I can see that potato right there starting to turn just a little, and I don't like it. But this is how easy it is. You don't have to spend all that time in front of the stove blanching. It takes a lot longer. But, you know, do I want to save time by doing it this way? Or do I want my final product to have, my final jar to have more potatoes in it and less starch? I prefer that. So I take the extra time of blanching. Finger tight. But I wanted to go ahead and share this with y'all, so I figured I'd go ahead and do them this way. And look, it looks like I can actually fit some of these potatoes in there, so I think I'm gonna watch me add them in here, and then it'd be too much. No, that looks good. That looks good. So we're gonna go ahead and add our liquid. And guys, this is, you might not like it, but I see a potato in here that I don't like, so I'm gonna get it out. See, just that one wasn't a big deal. That one just looked like it had a tiny bit of peel on it. But I want my jar to look good. I want my potatoes to look good. And we're at 3/4. I knew that was going to happen. Did I not say that? I sure did. Sure did. I said, I think this is going to be too much. I'm going to do it anyway. And I did. Still too much. So instead of taking more potatoes out, I'm going to go ahead and just take out a little bit of the liquid. And I am at 1 inch. And vinegar, white brim. All right. And the last one. And the finger tight. And let me show you why I tell you go around the rims. I've shown it before, but the red mark is just my marker. I know I can't use this jar for canning or really for dehydrating or anything like that. So I just use it to measure out stuff. But can you see that? Came like that. So obviously that's not going to hold a seal. So that's why you want to make sure you go around the rims. So if I was to miss that, I mean, that's very noticeable, but if for whatever reason I was to miss that, that jar would not seal. Now this one I got into yesterday, and I put another ring around that. I couldn't find the red marker, so I did it in black. But I don't know if you can see this. Probably, yeah, maybe a little. There's little nicks. There's nicks. So when I run my finger, nick, nick, nick. So that, they're so tiny, but that could possibly not let you get a good seal. Most likely, it would not let you allow you to get a good seal. And so your food could be spoiled. So just always make sure to check the rims. Normally, these little nicks and stuff happen with use and time. I mean, I have jars that I've been using for the past 10 years, but sometimes they're brand new. This one was brand new, out of the box, and nicked. So just make sure that you always check them. That way, if you have a false seal or you have something that didn't seal, those things happen. They're gonna happen. But it's not something that you did or that you didn't do. That's something simple that you can do to prevent that from happening. So, alright guys, so I have my jars in my helper, put my jars in the canner. Okay, so here we are at the canner. I have 7-quart jars in there. This is a Presto canner. The arrows are there for you. It is so simple. So there we go. So the lid is on there. My arrows are lined up, and then I take the handles and I just move them over and make sure that they're on there good. That's all that is. Right now I'm going to go ahead and turn my heat up on high. And I am going to go ahead and let this start venting. That's going to take it some time. And then the vent right here, this will start steaming. Steam will come out of there. When steam starts coming out of there, I will then set a timer for 10 minutes. Once it vents for the 10 minutes, I will come back and I will add the weight on there. And then I will let it come up to pressure. Alright guys, I will go ahead and set my timer for 10 minutes. Start on like this. And continue my timing for 40 minutes. At the 40-minute mark, when it is done, I will turn it off, and then I will let it come down from its pressure all the way down to 0. Once it comes all the way down to 0, the ball book tells you to wait 2 minutes. I'm never watching it. I just come. Normally when I come, it's down to 0. It's, an hour or 2 later. I jiggle the weight. I always have the glove on. I jiggle the weight. Make sure that there's no pressure, no steam coming out of there. I remove the weight. And then I open the lid away from me. You don't want to open the lid towards you and let that steam hit you in your face or your arms or anything like that. Open it away from you, and then you let that sit there for 10 minutes. Just let the jars just adjust to the temperature change. Let it sit for 10 minutes, and then you use your jar grabber, which I did not have in the picture today. And you use your jar grabber and you put your jars wherever you're going to let them sit for the next 24 hours. You want to let them sit. You don't want to move them around, just so that you don't interfere with any of the sealing process, anything. Jar grabber, because your jars will be very hot. So but that's what it is. And yeah, that's about it, guys. You will leave it for 24 hours. In 24 hours, you're going to come back, and let me get one of the jars that I have recently made and show you. So this is hot pack that I did yesterday, and I'm not sure if you can see that, but that's concaved. It's in. It's in. And if I push it, there's no popping, okay? That's a sealed jar. And you know how I do finger tight my rings? Well, this one didn't. I just touched another one that the ring was basically off. But yeah, so no pop. Not a sealed jar, obviously, because it's for my salt. Can you hear that? And you can see, it's not, you can, I don't know if you can see it. There's a little bubble right there. Ignore the canning salt written on there. But yeah, so it's a little bubble, and you can hear it. That is not a sealed jar. But sealed jar, concaved in, nothing. Just wanted to, in case you haven't canned before, you might not be familiar with that. I don't know. But I think I pretty much covered everything, guys. So thank you for spending, if I didn't, please leave it in the comments below if you have any questions. I will try to get to them. But thank you for spending your time with me. I hope that you have a wonderful and blessed day. And please subscribe if you can. It doesn't cost you anything. Please like this video if you learned anything from it. Please share and hit your notification bell. And again, I do thank you for spending your time with me. Till next time.